Note, John is 4 colors, so those Pilgrim's Eyes do a lot of work. And by Pilgrim's Eyes, I mean Pilgrim's Eyes, only has 1 in the deck. John's list has 4 Soul's Attendant, 4 Relic Order, 1 Phantasmal Image, 1 Wall of Omens, 1 Spellskite, 1 Seagate Oracle, 4 Deceiver Exarch, 1 Pilgrim's Eye, 1 Blade Splicer, 4 Metamorph, 1 Solemn, 1 Totem Guide Heartbeast, 1 Archon of Justice, 1 Inferno Titan, 1 Frost Titan, 1 Sun Titan, 3 Splinter Twin, 4 Birthing Pod. And it looks like John is going to activate that Splinter Twin and go get a land.
And as you can see, like in Quinn's hand, he has a Lightning Bolt, but he doesn't have any red mana at the time. It's kind of funny how the monocolored splash in a color is screwed right now, but John Loucks has everything he needs.
Yep, so John finds an island there, and yeah, if Quinn gains access to that mountain, it could definitely put a damper on his Pilgrim's Eye plans. That Viserys here could help him dig for it, potentially, but we'll see what happens. He runs 8 sources?
Red?
11 sources.
No, yeah, 11. Most run 11, and then nothing really too different. He's got Dark Tutelage in the main, which is probably in the deck right now. Even against the combo deck, I think the card advantage plus a bunch of removal is really good against John Loucks' deck.
So Quinn Doomblades down the Pilgrim's Eye, getting rid of the Eye and the Twin. So John's going to take, looks like 2, and he'll drop to 15 life. Quinn will take the opportunity to scry with his Bloodghast. And now, how the game develops from here depends a lot on what's in John's hand.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has a combo, he could go for it. If he's got a card advantage engine to dominate the game, a big creature, a Titan, would dominate it. But if he just has a bunch of utility cards, it might be a little rougher start.
I mean, Quinn doesn't really have John at really low life total yet, and his board isn't that developed.
And John has 2 Colonnades, I think, also, which are good blockers. I see a lot of lands in John Loucks' hand, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, how many times was he Pilgrim's Eye before we got on?
So John drops an Arid Mesa, and now he can tap out to activate that Colonnade if he wants this turn. Quinn has to choose if he's going to serve in or not.
Seems really difficult to attack in.
Yeah, I mean, if he drew the mountain, he could trade one of his creatures with a Colonnade, but then John just has another Colonnade. And he knows John has an island in his hand because he searched it up with the Pilgrim's Eye and John didn't play it.
Yeah, he played Arid Mesa.
It's like... Quinn's thinking about it.
Yeah, he really wants to just keep the pressure because John has a ton of cards in hand. And
he also, I mean, John has to play around Gatekeeper Malakir potentially too. Might not want to get his guy Gatekeeper post-combat. That's a consideration.
I mean, that would be, I guess that's possible.
So he just serves the Gatekeeper Malakir. John's going to crack his Arid Mesa, and I expect to see Colonnade activated here. Do you think he would have served with Viserys here too, Brad?
No, that creature's like really utility, especially with the Bloodghast in the graveyard.
Okay.
And I think he's okay with 2-for-1-ing. Like, I would assume if I attacked with the Seer, I would get an extra point of damage in, but I would lose the Seer, which is going to be valuable. I don't really know if attacking here is great. Like, we know it's not going to be a Doomblade because he would have sent with both guys, so I almost feel like he's going to be playing a post-combat land and bolting it. He's just...
So he just scries 1.
Yeah, he scryed and he put a Pulse Tracker at the bottom.
And he passes back to John.
I don't like that.
If you don't have any action, it seems like John's going to block there no matter what happens.
Yeah.
John peels another land, a Seachrome Coast this time. He's got a hand full of lands, but with the double Colonnade, that might be all he needs.
I mean, he definitely gets multiple turns before anything goes bad right now.
And Quinn just draws another land. He'll get his Bloodghast back. Looks like Arc Trail Lightning Bolt in Quinn's hand.
Which would have been good against like the heavy creature draw of John.
Yep. So John's going to crack that Terramorphic Expanse. Yeah, John's deck is just crazy.
There's a Soul Attendant on top.
Yeah, I was watching him play this the other night, and literally do anything you could think of in the format.
Oh, yeah.
Combo you out, play a Titan, combo you out another way.
Phantasmal Image with Sun Titan.
Yeah, Phantasmal Image, Sun Titan. We're
Copy
talking
your
about
Infernal Titan.
Yeah, exactly. All the things you can do. We had actual Magic the Puzzling where we had like game states we'd write down trying to figure out how we could win from this situation. Like, do we need another Birthing Pod target in the deck?
Is that what you guys were doing?
He actually had a bunch written down. He's like, Gavin, can you figure out how to win in these situations? All right, so John drew a white card, I think, there. Is that Totem Guide Heartbeast?
That would be a pretty big spell.
Let's see. See what he finds. Definitely a spell.
Oh, Devout Lightcaster?
A Devout Lightcaster.
Yep.
John.
Each have 3 white.
Yeah, John Loucks runs 15 1-ups, and Devout Lightcaster's among them. So we boarded in the Lightcaster, and he targets the Viserys here. Scrying 1. Unfortunately for John, he got rid of that Seer because there's a Colossal Highborn on top of Quinn's deck, which could start fireballing him with that Bloodghast.
But now he's safe.
Yep. And the protection from white on that Devout Lightcaster will allow it to block that Bloodghast or black rather.
Protection from black,
will allow it to block the Bloodghast.
We all knew what you meant.
Yeah.
First red source comes into play tapped.
Alright, John's going to crack the air mace, and Quinn doesn't even bother attacking with his Bloodghast there. He knows John's going to block with his guy, so
oh yeah,
not going to try and bluff anything.
Well, he already tried that once, so
yeah.
And so John's just accumulating a ton of lands, trying to find some gas.
Yeah, and if he draws some gas, he's just a Birthing Pod away or a Titan away from.
Oh yeah, anytime he draws a Birthing Pod, it's going to get really gross.
Yeah.
I mean, he must have a Forest in hand. I mean, his deck has a Forest. He didn't search it up. Did he, like, board that part of his deck out against vampires? Is that part of the strategy? Because he didn't go and search up a Forest. And I would assume that you would go get one with a Pilgrim's Eye, because he had a ton of blue sources.
Right.
So, I mean, in my opinion, there's a good possibility that it takes Birthing Pod out against vampires.
It's possible because he can't keep any guys in play,
Yep.
right? That makes sense. We'll see what he does. All right, well, there's a Spell Skite. And it looks like he's got two Spell Skites after sideboarding. That'll do some blocking, keep the pressure off. Now, would you have served with that Lightcaster?
No, I would have served with the Colonnade.
Or the Colonnade? Okay. Yeah, I think at this point you don't need any gas in your hand, but with the Colonnade you can just kill him in a couple turns.
Yeah, you still can. You still have blue to activate with the Spell Skite, so you can't, redirect Lightning Bolt or anything. As well as you want to start dealing some damage. Like you don't want vampires just like start top decking a bunch of gatekeepers and get back into a board position, or even a Dark Tutelage and put you on the clock.
Right. Do you like attacking with the Lightcaster and the Colonnade there? Put on a 3-turn clock.
I mean, I would have definitely attacked with 6 damage than over 0, with being at 13 life. But I don't know, like if John's thinking about being safe, I still don't see why one of his creatures didn't go into the red zone.
Yeah, I agree. I think John's all right. John draws another land, a Scalding Tarn this time. Sitting on a grip full of mana. John's deck runs, let's see, 3, 5, 7, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 25 lands.
Seems about right when you're playing 4 colors.
I think John just passes back again.
Yeah, played another land, passes back.
Yeah, now in this situation, like you've got all your mana on tap, you're not even doing anything with it.
Well, I mean, what could he possibly be afraid of? Like, double removal spell attack you for 2?
There's a Pulse Tracker down for Quinn Kennedy. And Quinn's draws haven't been spectacular, but if John doesn't close out the game fast enough, Quinn could get back in it.
I mean, I still don't actually see that happening, but I would keep attacking somehow.
There's a Dismember on the Spell Skite.
That he's paying a lot of life for.
Pays 4 life for it, wow. Wonder why he
I mean, it only costs colorless.
Playing around Mana Leaf, maybe?
That must be it.
He's going to Arc Trail the Lightcaster. 2 to Lightcaster, 1 to John. I assume he figures John isn't doing anything. He's got a bunch of cards in his hands.
Yeah, so he's attacking and
he's just going to block with the Colonnade.
Yeah. I don't understand running everything into Colonnades.
Yeah, I mean, that's not profitable at all. He doesn't have a red mana anymore, so he knows he's not going to get bolted or anything like that. All right, well,
very, very weird.
John untaps, finds another land. There's the Force. So he did have it in his hand.
Oh, he did have it in his hand. Okay, so he might have Breathing Pod still in the deck.
Yeah, and or could have boarded that pod. It's possible that he just needed the extra land, because on this deck seems kind of mana hungry.
Well, I mean, the one thing is he has the Devout Lightcaster, so it assumes that he has Birthing Pod in his deck, but I didn't see the Force, so... And now he goes and blocks the Pulse Tracker. He gets Lightning Bolted.
Alright, and even then he's just been depleting Quinn's resources with those Colonnades, and John still has another Colonnade back. Despite John drawing a ton of lands, another Colonnade off the top.
That's better than all the other lands that he's drawing, so...
That's certainly true. And he's holding back his Colonnade here. He doesn't want to get hit by that Lava Cloud Reaches, which is wise, I think. There's a Bloodghast.
This would be one of the only games in the world that I could actually possibly see him activating a Colonnade and sacking it into a Birthing Pod and a Soul's Attendant.
John draws Splinter Twin this turn, not the draw he was looking for. plays another land. At what point do you start holding lands? Never?
I would only hold a land when it would actually 100% make a difference with an opponent's decision. But in like constructed or in a format where I have like a card advantage, you get caught in those situations where you hold your 6th land because like it's your last land in your hand anyway, but then you draw like a tidings effect.
Right.
And then you would actually have an extra land in play if you just made it. So if my deck has card advantage or preordains or something, or anything that can get me 2 cards in one turn, I want to have all the lands in play.
Yeah, I agree with that notion entirely. Especially with John's mission here, he's got 2 colonies he could activate just playing all of his lands. He's been playing plenty of lands this game. He's got 3, 4, 5.
He's against vampires. Like, what's the vampire player going to do? Like, oh, he's got 6 cards as opposed to 4 cards.
Right. I mean, got to make the same play. So John has enough mana to activate both colonies this turn, I believe.
If one dies. No, he does. Yeah, he actually has enough to...
Yeah, he can activate both. So he's going to bolt it. Continues to deplete Quinn's resources on those colonnades. Alright. Draws Birthing Pod. Alright.
Will it happen?
Now we just need to find a creature.
We have a creature.
Well, I don't think we're going to Birthing Pod our colonnades.
You're just not thinking creative enough?
I mean, maybe John will do it. I don't know. I think we want to try and find something else. We have the twin in our hand, I guess. But, alright, we can definitely cast in the Birthing Pod.
Yep.
But, so if John draws a 2-drop, he can try and get the Deceiver combo active. Yeah, so John's just going to pass the turn. Quinn will crack his land.
Get a Bloodghast back.
I presume there's another Bloodghast in the graveyard, right?
Yeah, I think he attacked with a Bloodghast into the colonnade last turn.
Okay. Yeah,
I hope there is. I don't think that there would be good if he didn't have one.
Okay, yeah, there we go. He goes to find the Bloodghast. Comes back. Now John's sitting at 11 life. A little precarious, but he has that colonnade to block this turn. So Quinn picks up the Birthing Pod. Dangerous card. It can do so many things.
But not on your opponent's turn.
Correct. Very much limited to your turn, not in response to instants. Gatekeeper Malakir drawn by Quinn, that's going to be really nice for him.
Yeah, I was thinking if he drew a mountain, he was actually looking really good. But the Gatekeeper makes it really well, too.
Caps 5. Activates the colonnade. He's going to block, kill off one of the Bloodghasts. John will take 2, drop to 9, but then a post-combat Gatekeeper.
And that just turned on the Bloodghast, so now anytime he draws a land, they're coming in at haste speed.
Colonnade down. Alright, John needs to find some action right here. It looks like a Phyrexian Metamorph. Alright, that's something. So we can Metamorph a 2-drop, and then he can
Birthing Pod
it into a Deceiver Exarch, and then he's got the combo next turn.
Let's see if he does it.
I mean, I think you have to go for it here, right?
Yeah, I think you just make it a copy of Gatekeeper and crack it for a Deceiver.
Yeah. Or Bloodghast, I mean, whichever. Make it a copy of one of the 2 creatures, and I don't think you have any other play. As long as John knows that it becomes the converted mana cost of whatever it copies. It copies everything, even the mana cost. So if you Metamorph 2-drop, it becomes a 2 instead of a 4. It's important.
And then you'll be able to go grab a 3. And he just to hope to not have Quinn top deck another Gatekeeper, a Dismember, or something like that.
Right, exactly. Now I guess I should look at his list. Maybe there's something else he could go get, but I don't think so. Archon of Justice, I guess, but then he could turn Archon into a Titan next turn.
Well, how is he actually going to do that? How does he put a 4-drop into play and survive?
Well, you can play the Metamorph. Oh, you can't Birthing Pod, yeah.
No.
Oh, you can, but I mean, it's not. You can't Birthing Pod an artifact.
Yeah.
So. All right, so yeah, the Metamorph can't stay in play as 0/0. It has to be a 2-drop. It'll turn into a Deceiver Exarch. Could be a Seagate Oracle, but yeah, I think he just wants to go for Blade Splicer. But I think we just want to go for the Exarch. He's got the win in hand next turn. So.
And Quinn has no cards in hand, so if he ends up not top deck anything, he just wins the game.
Yep, I think that's exactly what I would do. Plus, like the Exarch's a 1/4, which is pretty reasonable in this situation. Even if Quinn draws a land to activate his Lava Claw reaches, John can block 1 and he'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, be at a stable 3 life. So
that'd be pretty rough. I don't know what he would. I guess he'd have to top deck another Deceiver, tap down a guy, block a guy, and then try to get there.
Well, no. So if Quinn draws a mountain, then he can serve in and drop John to 3, including the block.
I thought you were saying if it died.
Yeah. Oh, well, if John dies, he's in a really rough spot. But right.
So,
well.
I mean, maybe he's thinking like getting Deceiver and activating Birthing Pod again, or
Yeah, you can do the old Deceiver Exarch, put it into play, untap my Birthing Pod, sacrifice it. All right, so he does get the Exarch. Let's see what he untaps. He's
Just
going
a
to
win.
untap it for us, so not getting too tricky. If you were to go the other way, the cards you could get would be Solemn Simulacrum, and I think that's it.
that's it. Yeah.
Or I guess we're sideboarded, so... Tuck Scrapper, I don't think we have that one. Linvala, Keeper of Silence, probably not. So, yeah, I think you just keep the Exarch, go for the win next turn.
I'm with you on that one.
Quinn looks over John's graveyard, trying to figure out what is this mess? What is going on?
I think we've been accustomed to Deceiver Exarch enough times. I bet he knows that he's got one turn to live.
So Quinn draws some action. Oh, it's
Oh.
a Gatekeeper. Oh, how brutal
no.
for John Loucks. 4 damage
He
in.
spent all that time setting up his combo, and Vampires is just running up on Gatekeepers.
All right, let's see what John draws this turn. Another Splinter Twin. That's not going to do it. That's it.
And that's the game.
John was a turn off.
That's the power of Vampires. It really can just like explode with some of the creatures. The utility of it, I really like it. Like you've seen in that game when we came into the table, it looked so bad for Quinn, but the combo deck really couldn't get there, and he was just drawing really good spell after spell, and ended up taking the win.
Yeah, absolutely. So Quinn goes off to a quick 1-0 start over John Loucks here. We'll try and get John Loucks in the booth here in a second, tell us a little bit about his deck. We'd love to know about some of his choices. People love these kind of decks, and it'd be cool to see exactly what kind of thought went into it. But yeah, so you said, in the meantime, you said you like